So EQ is one of the most basic tools that we use in music production, and it just cleans up the mix. A mix is just mixing sounds, different sounds together and making them sound good. So EQ is good because you can take certain sounds out that you don't like and you can boost sounds that you do like. So to add an EQ, you just click this thing, pick EQ, click on EQ, and then you want to press play. And to be able to see the heat map, you click that little dot, go to enable. So I've added an EQ to every sound now in the beat, and what I'm going to do is go through each sound, and I'm going to cut out what I like in the sound, or I'm going to cut out what I don't like in the sound, and just leave the frequencies that I do like. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this as a basic example. Normally, you want to do what's called mixing in context, which means you're making changes while the whole song is playing. That way you can hear what you're changing in context to everything else going on in the song. But I'm going to put this on solo, play it by itself, and just EQ this so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut out the high end on this sound and basically the low end part that I don't like, and just leave the other sound that I do like. And then later, when I'll boost certain frequencies on this sound and dip other ones in context when I'm mixing it all together. But for now, I'm just going to cut the high and the low until I like what I hear. Okay, so this is called the high cut because I'm cutting the high frequencies out. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but there's like a clicking sound, a click, like weird click that I'm hearing in the high frequencies, and I just cut that out. When I take this off, you'll hear that the click comes back. Check it out. That's me pointing at my head to the beat of the click that I'm hearing. So if I take this away now, the click will go away. Watch. The click is kind of there, but you can barely hear it, so I'm going to cut out a little bit more. So like right about there is probably good. And the low end, I'm going to do the same. If I hear anything weird, just cut it down. Also on low stuff, you can cut most of what's in the low frequencies below like 100 hertz usually, which is right around here. And that just leaves room for the sub bass and the kick. So you don't want anything clashing with the bass. If you want a clean mix, you basically want to cut the low part, the bass stuff, out of everything except for the bass and the kick most of the time. You can leave stuff slanted like this where some of the frequencies are coming in, where your mix might sound thin, so keep that in mind, but basically cut everything out of the lows that you're not using for bass and kick. You can also pull down these dots to make a sharper cut. You can roll it off if you want, or like that. You can also use this to boost the resonance, is what it's called, because you're making a peak. It resonates, I guess, resonance. And that's good for if you find like frequencies that you like in the sound, you want to boost those like this. But for me, I like those frequencies right around there, so I'd probably boost that in the song altogether. But now I'm going to cut out all of the other frequencies from all the other sounds that I don't like and change the mix, and then show you what it sounds like without the EQ and with the EQ. so this is the bass sound, so I'm basically just going to cut the top end off because there's not a lot going on there. The reason I'm cutting the sounds out, or the part of the sound that you can't really hear, is because there's still sounds there that you can't hear, but it adds up in the mix and it makes the mix cluttered. So you cut the parts out that you can't really hear, so there's no energy there being taken up. Therefore, you get a cleaner mix, and the sound sounds better. I can probably cut out more than that, but I'm just going to go with that. So this is a kick drum. A lot of times I like to layer the kick, so I'll just take two different kicks, and then I'll just take the low part of the kick from one kick and the high part of the kick from another kick and mix them. And that's probably what I would do in this case because it doesn't have a lot of high end. Sometimes you want some high end on a kick just so it clicks and cuts through the mix better. Very low end kick, I would definitely probably add a second layer to this to make it cut through better because I like a clicky kick. Actually, it's probably a bad idea to EQ the snare personally, because sometimes when you do that, it changes the phase. And with the phases, that's a completely different topic, but basically the waveforms don't line up, and you basically get what's called masking, which means some of the sound will be blurred because the waveforms don't line up correctly. So be careful when using EQ. You're always making phase changes, but do your own research on that. A lot of times EQs have built-in like phase compensation and stuff like that. I don't even know if this one does that or not. I just do it until it sounds good and don't worry about it too much. Okay, so that's the track EQ'd completely now. That's what it sounds like with EQ. I'm going to turn the snare down because the snare is kind of loud for some reason. You'll also notice that when you like cut the EQ on certain things, like this, I cut the low end out of the snare. It basically didn't cut anything, but the sound got louder on the dB meter. So that's why I also recommend not EQing the snare sometimes. See, the snare's at like 12 dB without the EQ, but then when I add the EQ, it gets louder. That's why I don't EQ the snare, but just for the sake of the video, I'm going to level this with the EQ on. And show you the difference in sound before and after the EQ on each instrument. So this is what it sounds like before the EQ. This is what it sounds like after the EQ. So that's the difference before and after EQing out the highs and the lows of each sound, and now I'm going to boost certain frequencies in each sound and show you the difference there. This is just further EQing and mixing. So on this sound, I already found out that I like these frequencies, so I'm going to boost that a little bit. This band to make it wider or thinner. Here, right in there, it sounds kind of muddy, so I'm just going to lower that a little bit. The reason I'm pulling it all the way down is because I want to hear what it sounds like when I make an extreme change, and then I kind of want to blend it depending on how I think it sounds. I don't know how that happened. Alright, we're going to go with that. And I'm not a pro at this. I basically suck at music production and mixing and stuff, so this is all experimentation. Just go by what sounds good to you. Now to EQ the kick. So to my ear, it sounds like it's punching pretty hard right there. This is normally how I EQ a kick. I just found the punchy part and the low bass part. I'm making a band like this. Let's make a skinny band, pull it up, and then sweep side to side until I feel like it's hitting the hardest. Right about there is good. Oh, that's not even like doing anything really when I turn it up. Yeah, so this is now everything's been mixed. I kind of boosted everything that I like and cut everything I didn't like. Now I'm going to show you what it sounds like with the EQ on. The EQ off. And that's how you EQ a beat. Thanks for watching. I might come back and do a part 3 on this video and show you guys me making a melody or something, and maybe show you like another mixing technique or something. Comment down below if you'd like me to show you how to do some other mixing stuff or something, or like ideas on videos. And also I have an album coming out soon, so stay posted with me on that. I think I'm going to put it out maybe beginning of November, I'm thinking. Get with me on Instagram and you'll see more posts about it, and eventually I'll have it done, and then I'll be like, okay, it's going to be done on this date, and I'll put out a single or something. So stuff coming up. Stay posted. Peace out.